Hello, my name is Brant Hunt. Today is the first day of January, that is 2024. And I want to tell you my channel is YouTube is Discerning What is True. And I'm also going to be sharing that information on Odyssey. Also, my channel there is Discerning What is True. And then also on Facebook, I will actually do it later, put it on there in a few minutes after the show. So, going to be reading again the Egyptian miracle, the wisdom of the temple, part two. That is the part two part of the book called The Mystery of the Day by Rene Schwaller de Lebritz. So let's get into the reading here. The mystery of every day. The mystery of every day. All the power of the Father and his Father reside in the seed. The gene of the chromosome bears the entire heredity of the Father, in form, in substance, and with all its characteristic traits. This seed then fixes the maternal heredity with the substance brought by its nourishment. Without visible or tangible form, the seed is the pattern, the idea of what it generates. It is transcendent puissance around an incorporated pattern, a formless substance coagulating into a living being, complete and complex, a being taught by the puissance. The esoteric action going from idea to form is finality, results in exoteric and transcendental finalists. They are finalities. They are the apparent former stages. It is the wonder of the world, and everything that is and exists has seed, just as will and thought are seed of mental creation. I'll say that again. Just as will and thought are seed of mental creation. One thought of the transcendent potence compels one substance of the universe substance that is passive because awaiting any seed whatsoever to become a particular product, a particular herald, H-E-I-R, error, a world succeeding to a world, one and only one potence in one and only one substance through all the transcendental finalities towards the predetermining factors. The finality, man. At the end of humanity is man without body, substance within puissance. Not to be, and to be no longer. Such is the pulsation of which the apparent universe is made. Transcendental door finalities, potence, idea, form, finality, and potence without form. Such is the vital apparition, the cosmic pulsation. The law of Genesis is set by the invariable rhythm in the succession of stages, the transcendental finalities between the idea and the thing, and the organs that assimilate through air, liquid, and solid, as well as the organs that inform for intelligence and senses, are offspring of an energy of the same nature as the thing assimilated or experienced. The indisputable reality of the evident mystery that makes the invisible become visible, the impalpable become palpable, is the word of wisdom. The invariance of the law of Genesis forms the basis of traditional philosophy. Any research lacking these guidelines leads to an impasse or to naught. Everything is created or generated. It matters little what is thus manifested. Knowledge lies in what creates and causes generation. The ternary is the beginning. For example, the collision of bodies makes sound. There is an impulse, a resistance, a effect. This starts again for a third time with what receives. Sound spreads as volume in concentric spheres of alternating density, defining the vertical axis and the two dimensions of the horizontal plane within itself. Sound carries volume, the orientations, the prism of the octaves, the overtone that spirals within the extension of the layers of density and spherical spirals, and carries within itself interference and synchronicity of its numbers and phases, the specification of sound. These become embodied in a concrete form through the instruments that, as a whole, constitutes the ear. The ear is not made in order to hear. Could it be said that the riverbed and the contours of its banks are made to fit the river? Sound has formed the ear, and it is for this reason that the ear detects sound. Thus, the energies of states of matter through evolution have fashioned the senses that inform. The thought of the persons creates the organ pertaining to its function, and thought is consciousness in action. That is why the doctrine of anthropomorphism states, study the ear in order to know sound, study the eye in order to know light. The gap between idea, form, and matter is filled by gestation, inhaling and exhaling, pulsation, alternations. These are the other mysteries of each incident. These are gestations. The regularity of the proportionate relation of duration is what makes rhythm. The hour, the day, the month, the year, and the coincidence of celestial movements enclose the rhythm of atoms, of living cells, of all that exists. And disorder makes the world. Harmony, disorder scatters the parts, which then reassembles according to their affinities. Disorder, chaos, order, harmony, such is the alternation of rhythms. Gestation is this: to make and to undo, create and destroy, affirm and deny, contract and expand. What has been acts as seed for what will be. Form destroyed serves as foundation for form to come. Such is Genesis. Each phase of Genesis finds its finality in the innate consciousness of what preceded it. For humanity, the finality of Genesis is man. For wisdom, it is cosmic man, liberated from the genesis of its elements, total innate consciousness. Thus, it is the universe incarnate in man, and is nothing other than virtue man, anthropomorphos cosmos, anthropocosmos, And man is the map, the cosmographic chart upon which wisdom reads the universe, the genesis, the functions. A foundation and anthropocosmos liberates philosophy from the limited circle of mere speculation. An idea by offering is the object for experimental application. It is synthesis of art and science, faith and reasoning, thought and experience, feeling and demonstrated proof. Causal energy becomes mineral, mineral becomes plant, plant becomes animal, animal becomes man, man becomes cosmic man, the saint, Buddha, Jesus, Jehoshua. In this way, the mineral has suffered the schism from the cause. The plant has suffered the mineral. The animal has suffered the plant. Man has suffered the animal, and cosmic man will have suffered humanity. Vital suffering is consciousness subjected to transcendent change. Genesis is extension of consciousness. Three portals lead into the temple. That is belief, learned knowledge, and gnosis. That is inborn knowledge. To know is to ascertain by the present means of the senses the reality of what has been believed. To believe is to be convinced of the reality of what cannot be proved. But truth is the congruently of what is believed or known, believed and known with that which is. Such identification is gnosis, the exit door beyond the temple, being in being. In the first part, seeing being is a lowercase, and then the last part, being in being, is in a capitalized B. We can believe in the universe that is in man. We can study the universe through man because man is at one with the universe in man. The identity of universe and man is the source of his faith, the source of his science, the promise of his liberation, knowledge of the center tree of life. Genesis of Moses, that is. Oneness of source, oneness of aim, oneness of function form a solidarity that is the moral basis of superior man. At any point, whatever on the surface of the universal universe sphere. There bursts an imponderable fragment of causal energy. It projects in all directions innumerable sparks, which makes their was which make their way at will, moving aways rapidly or slowly, and they will all rejoin at the antipole. Each one of these sparks was free, but the spherical surface leads them. The conditions of life are of cosmic order. Will and free will are a particular order and can in no way affect the conditions of life that are sacred and concern wisdom. Gnosis alone approaches wisdom, purification, unction, and coronation are rites to be accomplished in order to earn the right to approach the Holy of Holies. The symbol is the means of revealing the particularities of one being to another. It is the specification of a being. Specifications are affinity and forward appearance in time, space, and movement. But Gnosis demands no medium of transmission, as being is not separate from beings. Man is not a symbol of the universe, he is the universe. The reign of spirit is consciousness of unity and the order governed by that certitude. Consciousness is the identification of one nature with a similar nature, of a specific being with the specification of another being. Energy is not of a mechanical nature. Mass is energy coagulated by the seed. Its movement is mechanical, the power of rebellion, the liberating reaction against confinement. Regeneration is Genesis in the same way that procreation is in the image of creation. Form and universality, the means that carries the idea, and the idea without mean term. Man is the transition. The mean term which had become vanishes again into the idea, and man will have eaten. He will have returned to his source, all that the universe knows, from mineral to animal. By means of the mineral, energy becomes the grain of wheat. Bread eaten by man becomes chyle, C-H-Y-L-E, then lymph and blood. The blood together with the lymph makes flesh and bone. The ducts, the D-U-C-T-S, by cosmic flux and reflux, lead the red and white solar energy through all the sites where the 12 powers sleep imprisoned in the organs. Once every 2 hours of the day and a night, each of the 12 awakens at the passing of Ra, son of the blood, and then goes back to sleep. In the intricate centers, as transformations by induction, the energy carried by that flow is liberated and will be distributed by the medulla oblongata and marrows as a flux of nervous energy. The self-inductions will bring about sensitivity. It will be in the upper centers. However, that energy will be again depolarized, and non-polarized energy is spirit. Only spirit is conscious of spirit. This is Genesis and regeneration. Anthropos is a reality of the unquestionable ground. The universe is neither an imagination nor a will, but a projection of human consciousness. Science and way of life, when based on man as universe, are based on rock. Otherwise, science and way of life are based on the quicksand of innumerable assumptions. Philosophy, which is a love of wisdom, is a state. But philosophy as dialectic investigation is digression. It is a error. This aberration survives from a time when the absence of knowledge concerning the secret of becoming left a void that was filled by faith, imposed in formulas of ethical character. This fate became a source of inedible revolutionary reaction. Incoherent provokes movement, and the movement is revolt. Now false philosophy is replaced by the empiricalism of scientific thinking. Again, he's talking about what's happening here right now in the 1900s, early 20s, 30s, as what happens is no longer philosophy is king, so to speak. It has become science in some ways. Such as investigation directed by successive discoveries is a thought process through and through. The growing complexity of problems raised by this mentality leads to specialization, which by reaction creates the need for a means of coordination. As no map exists to share elevations, directions, and end of the road to be followed, there is uneasiness in those who are not blinded by the blinkers of a specialized preoccupation. On the other hand, the purely ethical character of a religious doctrine no longer corresponds to the mentality of present day learning, nor to the problems raised by the learning. The promise of reward or punishment beyond the grave no longer affects this humanity, which has not been educated to a life extending beyond the life of physical existence. Birth, death, we come, we go. Who comes? Who goes? The answers to these questions belong to the realm of speculative thought. They are infinitely less convincing than the mechanism reasoning of experimental rationalism. Yet the mystery, basics of faith, is incomprehensible evidence. It's the mystery of every day, and man himself is its revelation, its explanatory analysis. From an anthropocosmic point of view, the symbols of bread and wine become a moving reality, notwithstanding its moral and consequences social degradation and the enormity of its deviation in the search for truth. Humanity is today reaching a level of consciousness that enables it to follow that path. True science does not go towards complexity, but towards extreme simplicity, and ancient Egypt shows us the way. Only what is created or born has a reason for being. I'll say that again because it's a very key statement. Only what is created or born has a reason for being. Consequently, the universe can only be the outward form of specificities virtually contained within oneness, and nothing can exist or happen that is not the effect of that seed, the effect of that will within which nothing can be arbitrary. What has been personally understood regarding gnosis is a concern of the individual alone, when the simple duty of bringing a small stone to the edifice of knowledge urges us to communicate what we have come to know of this realm which eludes the rational. We are faced with the lack of terms or images that would allow our thoughts to concretize. It is very tempting then, in order to uphold the esoteric point of view, to lean on the recent progress of atomic science and its disintegration of matter into energy, to be written in letters of fire. All we know specifically is kinetic energy, which vital energy is at the foundation of things, not at the end. It is not the same energy. Therein lies the key. Causal energy is spirit, a latent, motionless fire, a fire in time that is in Genesis and not in space. Alone, the physical entity, having volume and thus in itself being space, can move in space, there to define a time and manifest a kinetic energy. The speed of light is a mechanism of reference for mechanical equivalence of a mechanical system. Liberated intra-atomic energy is kinetic energy, as is radioactivity. By no means is it vital energy. It may be ricocheting, act as a mechanical destruction or visualization on the living organism, but is not vitally caused in itself. It can help a seed to grow more intensely. That is physical or chemical action of the medium, but it can never cause this growth. The explosive liberation of kinetic energy can only concern a mechanical energy. Only the disintegration of the neutron can liberate vital energy, and this can be achieved by evolution alone, not by mechanical rupture. Reliberation of vital energy is ultimately accomplished by the nervous energy of the organic body, and for the human being, even more so by the spiritual faculties of the intellect. The energetic disintegration of the neutron constitutes the extension of evolution of consciousness. This means only the medium of its original can dissolve this center mass of matters. And that is in conclusion of chapter 2 tonight, from the works of Rene Schwaller, which is called The Egyptian Miracle, The Wisdom of the Temple. And this is part 2 of this particular book here. And this is called this is chapter 2 here, also The Mystery of the Day by Rene Schwaller de Lebritz. So again, he puts a lot of this together, and he's speaking about how the advancements were made during the 1920s and 30s with the advent of the atomic energy here also. But he's talking again also here, which is the seed. And the seed is always mentioned in Scripture, especially in the New Testament. It's mentioned many times. And that's what we are originally, between our parents. And that takes place, and that becomes what I call a division. And what takes place is a new being, so to speak. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope this will reward you in the future. And I wish you a good night. You take care. We'll talk soon.